Welcome back. Senator Marco Rubio slamming socialist Nicolas Maduro for blocking food and humanitarian aid to his starving people.
It is a violation of international law for the armed forces of a country to deny the delivery of humanitarian assistance to civilians. And that is what they are doing, and that's what they are seen postured to do.
This as Venezuela is now bracing again for a massive protest nationwide tomorrow. Millions of people are expected to pour out into the streets against Maduro. Tensions continue to escalate. Venezuela's interim president Juan Guaido warns socialist Maduro's military that, hey, if you continue to block food and humanitarian aid, you will be committing a crime against humanity. Also, active duty Venezuelan army colonel, he is Ruben Paz Jimenez, now publicly backing Juan Guaido, urging his fellow soldiers to abandon Maduro and help let in humanitarian aid into Venezuela. Let's bring in the Heritage Foundation's James Carafano and National Security Institute's senior fellow Lester Munson. First to you, James. What do you think of all this action?
So, I was at Heritage today when Rubio gave his speech, and the room was full. It must have been 300 people there, but he was only talking to 6 people, and the 6 people are the senior military and political leaders that are keeping Maduro in power. And what he laid out was pretty clear. On the one hand, he pointed out that keeping out this humanitarian aid, which is really going to increasingly grow the pressure on the government, that's another list on the crimes that you could be charged with. And on the other, he was reminding them that this government, the U.S. government, is well prepared forensically to go around and find out where their money and their assets are. And then when they have to flee, they'll have nothing. And so basically he was reminding them that the clock is ticking.
Yeah, the clock is ticking. You know, to James's point, Lester, Guaido is saying he's going to do everything necessary to save human lives. He is basically implying U.S. intervention. What's your take here, Lester? What do you think?
Well, I think the Trump administration has done a very good job of letting Latin American countries lead here. It's Venezuela's neighbors in Colombia and Brazil and Peru that are the most upset about what's happening. Venezuela is being turned into the Syria of Latin America. There's a genuine humanitarian crisis. The administration is letting Latin American countries lead, but I think they're also doing a good job, the administration, of squeezing investors in Venezuela. Just today, the Treasury Department announced that Americans can no longer trade in Venezuelan and PDVSA debt. PDVSA is the Venezuelan oil company. So you're seeing some very creative moves here. That's a very big deal. They're really squeezing Caracas right now.
I am so interested that you brought that up, Lester. To Lester's point, James, if you can't trade in Venezuela's debt, I mean, debt that you know, basically Maduro can't refinance. I mean, what's next for Venezuela? I know they're trying to ship their oil elsewhere. Going to dig into that next. I mean, but that's heavy crude. That's hard to get refined. And I mean, they are in now in a corner. Don't you think that he is boxed in now? What's next?
Absolutely. I mean, they've talked about offshore transfers of oil. It's not practical. So, I mean, this administration has just written a textbook on how you pressure a regime from within and without. And the way they've gone after the targeted financial instruments and also the sources of criminal money that they can go after. They have really demonstrated on the way to maximize the pressure, and honestly, at this point, all they really need to do is wait for this to crack open. I think the chances of an actual U.S. military intervention are less than 0.
You know, Maduro's aides at the pressure also of Maduro's wife. We're hearing reports that they're looking for escape routes for him and his wife out of Venezuela. Who's going to take him, Lester?
Well, I actually think it's important that we do give him a route out of Venezuela. There are allies of the United States and of these Latin American countries that are interested in Venezuela that should be willing to help. It's very important that Maduro be given the option of leaving peacefully, quickly, and quietly. I think that's a very good idea.
James and Lester, you guys are great tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will be right back.